Oh, this is downtown Olympia. You can see it's a mixture of newer buildings and older buildings. There was a time in Olympia's history when it was actually larger than either Seattle or Tacoma. It was a short time, but nonetheless, there was a time. I think this is called the Swantown Marina. For those of you in parts of the country where there are not a lot of boats, where there is not a lot of water, I'm sure that you find this interesting. For those of us who live in areas where there are lots of bodies of water, it's much more commonplace. Interesting still, but much more common. We're just a little ways down the shoreline from the Swantown Marina in Olympia. You can see that the tide is out. You can see the sailboats out there. People having a great time sailing on the wonderful Puget Sound. Beautiful geography here in the city of Olympia. And we have a yacht leaving port, gonna go out and cruise the Puget Sound, maybe for a day, maybe for a week. Who knows? They might be cruising up to Alaska or the Vancouver Island, up to Victoria. Papa Dale here, Papa and the Bandit, and we are stocking up in Olympia, Washington to go on our first 14 days of our next big trip. So I'll reveal that to you at the next stop. We're going to be going to a park, and a beautiful park with a waterfall, and when we get there I'll reveal to you the plan for the next 2 or 3 months. So here we are going into Cabela's. This store is so cool. You could just stay in here for a week and just explore. It's a North American big game display, although I doubt that a pheasant is a big game, or a raccoon. But here we have a white-tailed deer, and got a couple of elk up there. Looks like we got a pronghorn sheep or two here. Whoa, I was wondering what smelled. I know they have an aquarium here. Look at this. Let's go in here. Ooh. Oh, I'd sure love to tie into one of those. Now this looks like a gar up here. Some of you might remember the dead gar that I found the vultures feeding on in Texas at Possum Kingdom Lake. They are just deadly fish. This looks like a wolverine, yep. Those animals are not very big, but man, they are just tough. I've seen YouTube videos of them backing off cougar, backing off bear. They are just amazing animals. And here we have a polar bear. They will hunt human beings. My father-in-law got dropped off of a little putt-putt airplane in Alaska one time, maybe a half a mile from the hotel he was going to stay at. And he traipsed across the ice and snow to the hotel with his luggage. The next morning he was in his room and he was awakened with this really loud clatter, rat-a-tat-a-tat-tat, and he jumped out of bed and looked out the window. And here were some Inuit natives in a snow machine just going lickety-split right through that same area that he had been walking, and they were being chased by a polar bear. He never walked around out like that ever again. Well, there in the distance we see the rotunda of the Capitol building for the state of Washington. It sits on a hill right above the city of Olympia and above Capitol Lake. And that area over there is the Olympia Yacht Club. The tide is out, the water is quite low, the seagulls are in looking for a free meal in the mud flats. I don't know if you can hear them, but I can hear them chattering. And then behind the ferries you can see logs. This is a working waterfront. The Olympia area is a major shipping port for timber worldwide. Well, I hope you can see it, but they're looming above the city of Olympia and above the North Point Marina area and the Yacht Club Marina area is Mount Rainier. Well, this, friends, is Capitol Lake. Olympia is to the east. You can even see Mount Rainier peeking out above the trees in between the buildings. Every year they have a big fair. It's called Lake Fair. They have all kinds of vendors and games and action and activities. And it's a pretty big local event, Lake Fair. I think we missed it for this year. I think it's in late June or early July maybe. But it's a pretty unique event and pretty interesting event. One of the bigger events for the city of Olympia all year long. Just wanted to get some more shots of beautiful Capitol Lake and get my own ugly mug in the picture this time. But it's a beautiful, beautiful lake. It really reflects on the state capitol well. Okay, Papa Dale, check it out. Oh, here we go. This is the original legislative building for the state of Washington. Well, hi friends, it's Papa Dale, and you've been enjoying the absolutely glorious beauty of TUMWATER Falls and TUMWATER Falls Park. This is one of the most beautiful, in fact, the most beautiful urban park that I know of. The falls is on the Deschutes River, which begins in the Bald Hills out past my property out at Clear Lake, and it flows through the farmlands and countryside all the way down here into TUMWATER / Olympia, Washington. Then it flows into Capitol Lake, which is a dammed up lake. It's a lake that was created to make a reflecting pool of the Capitol buildings, and so that's where it ends. Now, there are not just the falls here, but there are lots of hiking trails and picnic tables and grassy areas for people to play in. We're going to go down some of the hiking trails and just explore the park a little bit. And I've got a big announcement coming up at the end of this clip. So let's go have some fun. Papa Dale, check it out! But only for the moment. How the river flows into a beautiful flat area where the water's not moving, and that is the beginning of Capitol Lake. Are you a good boy? Huh? You want to go on a road trip? Yeah? I don't know, Papa. I kind of like hanging around home, too. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun. This is the big reveal. Papa and the Bandit are going to go on a road trip. We're going to go down the 101, which is the highway closest to the west coast of California. Excuse me, west coast of the United States. In California too, some of the time. In Oregon, some of the time. And in Washington, some of the time. It's not always the closest highway to the coast, but it very often is. So we're going to go down the 101, and we are going to veer off of it every once in a while when it seems prudent, when we've got a highway that's closer to the ocean, that's relatively easy to get to, maybe some camping spots and so forth. We're going to boondock as much as we can, but I expect that we'll probably have to do some paid camping too in some state parks or national parks, because that's a very popular place for people to drive and take pictures and to camp. So we're starting right here at TUMWATER Falls Park, because it's less than half a mile from the beginning of 101. 101 actually starts here and goes north up past the Hood Canal and up around the top of the Olympic Peninsula and back down the west side of the Olympic Peninsula. So we're going to spend a couple of weeks camping all around the Olympic Peninsula, and then once we get down around Aberdeen, we're going to pretty much be headed south down through the last part of western Washington and then down into Oregon and beyond. We're going to continue on all the way on the 101 and some of the side roads to past San Diego. At least that's the plan. We'll see if there's any road work or detours that make that plan a little interrupted. So what do you think? What do you think of that, Bandit? Bandit, hey, I'm talking to you. What do you think about that? Well, Papa, I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of not too excited too. Well, okay, we're gonna have fun, I promise. You wanna go sniff some new things? Oh, do I get to sniff some new things? Yes, you do. You get to pee in new places. Oh, now I'm getting excited. Okay, woohoo, Yabba Dabba Doooo. All right, happy trails to us. Yabba Dabba Doooo. We'll see you on the road. Ha ha! Papa Dale, checking out. Yabba Dabba Doo! It's the great 101 road trip and adventure. Woohoo! You guys gotta come along and be a part of it. Bandit and I are gonna have so much fun, and we're gonna share it with you. Yabba Dabba Doo!